Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another animated movie double review. Yes, on something that I never thought I would ever really talk about. Excuse me. Marvel's Ultimate Avengers 1 and Ultimate Avengers 2, Rise of the Black Panther, Rise of the Panther. Yes, for those who don't know, well, oh my God, I got a lot to say, so I'll try not to be all over the place with this one, but there's a lot I have to talk about in regards to Ultimate Avengers. Well, for starters, for me growing up, it kind of had some of the '90s Marvel shows, some of the Marvel shows from the early or mid and late 2000s. But as far as like knowing of the Avengers as a team, these movies were kind of my introduction to the Avengers. Like for example, like I said, like for Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four movies from the mid 2000s and the animated series from the mid 2000s, Earth's Greatest Heroes. That was like my introduction to the Fantastic Four outside of, since I didn't have access to the comics at the time, or through certain characters may have interacted with Spider-Man, like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Captain America, etc. So, like I said, these movies kind of got me, well, introduced me to the Avengers as a team and as the characters. Like I knew who Captain America was, I knew who Hulk was, I knew who Thor was, a little bit. I knew who Iron Man was, but I didn't know about Ant-Man and Wasp. I didn't know about Black Panther. I didn't know about Black Widow, Nick Fury, Shield. I didn't really know about any of those characters and concepts and all that stuff. So Ultimate Avengers. So okay, in the early 2000s, Marvel as a company before they were owned by Disney wanted to just modernize their comics. Modernize the Marvel universe, but they didn't want to you know necessarily they didn't want to mess with the main series, which was Earth 616. So they created the Ultimate series. I forgot what Earth it is, which they could kind of tell, retell stories of these iconic characters, but kind of do things differently or go in different directions without messing with the original timeline or universe. In the beginning, there's a whole video on it by a YouTuber named Owen. I think Owen Likes Comics. Very well-known comic book YouTuber. I recommend his video on the Ultimate comic line if you're interested. But basically, things kind of went downhill towards the end. I won't get into all that, but yeah, so that's where the Ultimate Avengers originated from. They originated from the Ultimate timeline or Ultimate Comics. These movies were produced by Lionsgate. Lionsgate produced a handful of other Marvel properties. They did a Doctor Strange movie, which is actually really good and does some things differently from the Benedict Cumberbatch version or MCU version. They did an Iron Man movie where he fights the Mandarin. I really loved that one growing up, but I've heard some people think it hasn't aged as well. They did a Planet Hulk, which I own. So I own Ultimate Avengers 2, and I own Planet Hulk on DVD. Planet Hulk, that's a good one. There's Hulk Versus, where Hulk fights Thor and Wolverine in two different, adventures. Those are really good. Those are a lot of fun. I think those were animated by Madhouse, which is really cool. Um, and there was one with Thor and Loki when they were like preteens and they went on an adventure in Asgard or the Nine Realms or something. I haven't seen that one in a long time, but I remember that one being good. And I think that's it. I think that's it. I know there's a next Avengers, which is about like the children of the Avengers fighting Ultron, but I don't know if Lionsgate produced that or not. But yeah, so there's a variety of solid Marvel animated movies before Disney that are still fun to watch and still hold up, and I feel like these don't really get talked about too much. Um, the voice cast, well, for the most part, well-known voice actors: Nolan North, Gray, I think her name is Gray Delisle, um, and a handful of other solid voice actors in general. So what are these about essentially? Well, we have okay, so Ultimate Avengers 1 is basically we start off with seeing Captain America in World War II. Ultimate Captain America is a little bit different than the main 616 Captain America. Like the personalities are a little different and they're they're not their way of thinking, but their morals are a little bit altered from one another. But we see him trying to stop a bomb or a rocket from going off or going in space or something. He crashes into the ice, and that's where he freezes, and he's been frozen for 70 years. In this version, there was no Red Skull, at least not in this movie. They just fought the Nazis, and they fought these aliens called the Jatari, which we do see in the first MCU Avengers movie. So I think they may have pulled some elements from this movie and maybe the comics and all that stuff. Um, so then we see Shield. They find Captain America. He thaws out. He does his thing. Like he's disoriented. He doesn't know where he is. He's fighting off the guards. He takes a run for it. And Colonel Fury, who is black in this version, which is cool. For those who don't know, Nick Fury was originally a Caucasian character, and I'm sure due to Sam Jackson's betrayal of the character, every version of him is kind of now black, which is cool. But I think him being black originated, in the Ultimate comics. Actually, I think they may have. Uh, that's a whole story. I think they may have like took some of Sam Jackson's look and put it into the comic without getting his permission. So that kind of led to him getting the role of the character years later, I think, but I'm not too sure about that. Um, so like I said, uh, you know, Cap kind of has to get introduced to the world. He kind of suffering from PTSD, all the other stuff. They do some things differently, like which I won't spoil. You'll see when you watch it. But so with the Chitauri, the aliens come back trying to take over the planet or whatever, and Nick Colonel Fury decides to make the Avengers Initiative led by Captain America. So they try to recruit Thor. Black Widow's already part of the team. They try to recruit Iron Man. They try to recruit Wasp and Ant Man. For those who don't know, and the original Avengers comic, I think written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby, um, Ant Man, Dr. Pym, and Janet the Wasp were part of the original Avengers team when they fought Loki. So originally, I think it was Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Ant Man, Wasp. I don't think Captain America was there. I can't remember. And no Black Widow and no Hawkeye. So you see, they kind of did some things differently for the movie. So like I said, they recruit all these heroes, and they're dysfunctional, and we do kind of get some drama here and there, and we kind of get some relationship drama between some of the characters, which actually added to the grounded um, this grounded take on the Avengers. Um, so like I said, they all come together. They eventually work together, beat the aliens. Hulk Hulk breaks free, or Hulk or Dr. Banner turns to the Hulk, and he kind of goes on the rampage. This version of the Hulk is more brutal and aggressive, and just kind of beat the crap out of everybody. Eventually, Betty Ross, his love interest at the time, is able to calm him down, and the day is saved. Rise of the Black Panther. So the technology that Wakanda uses to power their weapons and all that stuff was shipped from the Chitauri from like 1943 or something. So the Chitauri are targeting Wakanda because they have all the resources that they need, I guess, to take over the planet, whatever. King T'Chaka is killed by the general of the Chitauri race. So T'Chaka, I'm not T'Chaka, T'Challa has to take up the mantle of Black Panther. He seeks out Captain America to help him fight the aliens. So eventually, Wakanda and the Avengers eventually work together to defeat the Chitauri, one last time. And we, like I said, we see Captain America and T'Challa work together, and spark a friendship, and that was really cool to see. Again, Ultimate Avengers 2, it's good. It's really good. Again, it introduced me to Black Panther, introduced me to Wakanda, all that cool stuff. Like I said, I think these movies, hold up well. I might talk about Hulk versus Wolverine and Hulk versus Thor because I really enjoyed those as well. I might talk about Planet Hulk 2 and maybe Doctor Strange and Iron Man. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, I think these movies, deserve their flowers. They kind of, I feel like some of the stuff we got years later kind of maybe pulled from these movies or these comic book stories or whatever. But yeah, give Ultimate Avengers a watch. The first one's on YouTube for free. You might have to rent or buy the second one. So yeah, give them a watch. Check them out. Peace. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another movie review. This time on one of the best comic book movies ever made, or one of the best comic book movies of the '90s era. Yes, this came out June 15th, 1991. It was directed by Warren Beatty, who also played our main character in this movie. So this is Dick Tracy. Yes, this is a character, I believe, from the 30s. He started in uh, like a like the comic strips they would put in newspapers, I believe. He's had a few video games. He's he had a cartoon at one point. He had a show that I think lasted one season in like the 50s. Excuse me, but he's a pretty cool. Um, mm, he's a pretty cool character. He's just kind of like a police cop or police detective um, who fights crime, basically. The soundtrack was composed by Danny Elfman. He did the Michael Keaton Batman movies, the Batman movies directed by Tim Burton. Um, I think he also did the score for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I believe I can't remember specifically. So yes, outside of Warren Beatty being the director and playing Dick Tracy himself, which is really cool. I've never known for a director of a movie to play the main character. We also have Al Pacino, Madonna, Dustin Hoffman, and a handful of other successful, well-known actors in this movie. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty awesome cast. I'm not sure if this movie did well when it came out. I've kind of heard things here and there, like maybe it wasn't successful, but fans or people who reintroducing this character to a new audience at that time. People have fond memories of it. Personally, I enjoyed it. I rented it a couple like last week, and I really enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of, yeah, like I said, Tim Burton's Batman. That was probably because of Danny Elfman's music, and it also kind of reminded me of, like, the city and the art style kind of reminded me of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or Cool World, which I did a review on Cool World a couple years ago. So basically, the story, like I said, there's a lot of crime in the city. There's this crime lord who's kind of become, head of all this organized crime. Dick Tracy is trying to prove that, he's the bad guy and he needs to be locked up. Of course, there really isn't a lot of evidence of the bad things that he's done for that to happen. But there is a singer in a jazz club or whatever, and she witnesses one of his one of his evil acts. And if she was to what's the word? Not protest. I forgot. But she was to speak in court as a witness about the situation. Then he could be locked up. But of course, she's kind of stuck working for him. Like, yeah, like he in a sense he kind of owns her in a way. Like if you say something, I'll K-word you. So she's kind of conflicted. And there's some plot twist elements that come down later on in the movie that I won't spoil because it really did catch me off guard when I saw the reveal. Um, on top of that, Dick has a really close female friend who I guess, yeah, is his girlfriend. She kind of wants him to get married and maybe move out of the city, but because of his responsibility as a cop and in a sense, he's like Superman. Like how Superman protects Metropolis. It's like if he was to leave, like the city would be in shambles in a way. So he's kind of conflicted. Like he wants to have that life with her, but he also has to stay true to his job and all that stuff. He also meets this little boy who's an orphan, who's is just nicknamed Kid. And I think they kind of like, well, I won't spoil it, but he's a fun character. He's kind of Dick Tracy's sidekick in a way. Dick Tracy kind of takes him under his wing. Looks out for him, wants the best for him, wants him to be in a better situation. Because when we meet Kid, he's a pickpocketer for some really ugly dude who doesn't treat him well at all. And of course, Dick Tracy find was able to follow him to where he lived, and was able to arrest the man and all that stuff. So like I said, I like Kid's character. He, I guess they just kind of wanted that child presence in this movie, and his actor did a good job. It was a lot of fun to watch. Um, but yeah, that's kind of Dick Tracy for you. I mean, it's a good movie, and like I said, it just kind of reminds me. The atmosphere reminds me of Tim Burton's Batman. The cast did great. All the characters look spot on from the comics and whatnot. So again, I recommend this movie. Like I said, recommend the comics if you're interested. There were some modern comics, I think by IDW, which is a comic publication company. Um, or you could check out the older stuff if you're interested. But like I said, he's a cool character, and I'm glad he got this movie. I think it still holds up outside of no diversity. Yeah, I don't think there was any diversity in this movie. The same with The Rocketeer, which I saw for the first time last night as of this recording. And that was really good. I might talk about that. But then I think that took place in like the 30s or something, 30s, 40s. So I guess I kind of get why there wouldn't really be diversity in that movie. But yeah, it's really well described. There's no diversity. But outside of that, I really like the story in the movie. So yeah, if you're interested, go give Dick Tracy a watch on streaming. Yeah, check it out. Peace, you guys. Oh, I forgot. Ignore that notification if you heard it. I forgot. How did I discover Dick Tracy? I honestly don't remember. I think I discovered him through a toy line. Like there was a company called Shocker Toys at one point, and they would make action figures of like comic book characters who maybe really didn't have a lot of merchandise. Um, and I remember watching someone do a review on one of the toys, and Dick Tracy was on the back of it, and I was like, "Huh, no, who's this character?" So I think that's how I got familiar with him, was through a toy line, which is pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Like I said, give this movie a watch; it's a lot of fun. Check it out. Peace. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another anime OVA review from 1987, Battle Royal High School. Oh my god, I love this anime. I think it's only like 50-ish minutes. This was directed by Irachi Itano, and it was I believe the manga was created by Shiguchi something. I forgot how to say his last name. So that's cool. I think the author of the manga worked on this, so that's cool. Um, this did get an English dub, which is what I watched. I think you can watch both versions, dubbed and subbed on YouTube. Yeah. So what is Battle Royal High School about? Well, it's like a mix of a lot of things. Like you have like martial arts genre, kung fu martial art genre, um, and well, a sci-fi angle, and a supernatural other dimension angle, and fantasy angle. Like you have so many different genres just mixed together, and it comes off kind of fan fictiony almost, but again, it's based off a manga, so it's still really cool and creative. So basically, we have our main character whose name escapes me at the moment. We have our main character. He's kind of a big shot. He wants to be like the strongest fighter in the world or something. Um, there was a martial arts club at the school, and he defeated the leader of the club. And and after he defeated the leader of the club, that made the leader resign. Excuse me, resign. Um, after that, long story made short, weird stuff starts happening to him. Um, he finds out that there's another version of himself from another dimension. This version of himself is like some powerful lord with all these powers, wears a cape and all this crazy stuff, who comes looking for him. Um, and they kind of have a fight. He sends some minions after him. He ends up taking out the minions. Um, and they fuse together. So, he's still in control of his body, but the like the spirit of his other self from the other dimension is now in his body as well. And sometimes he might take over or help him if he gets into trouble. He'll help him by using his powers or something like that. Um, Maybe his name was Hiroshi or something like that. I can't remember. Uh, so that's going on. So his other self, or for the review, we'll just call him Hiroshi. So Hiroshi's other self from the other dimension had um, uh, had some type of relationship. It's not fully specified with this female elf woman who wants to overthrow him and take over his dimension and possibly take over our world or whatever. So she sends like minions to cause trouble and chaos. There's these two agents who are from the future. The male agent is sent to Earth, sent to the city to investigate all this weird stuff that's going on. Like I said, a lot of stuff going on. And he knows how to fight. I think he has a firearm. He also has like this mech armor suit, like not like a giant mech, but just kind of like an Iron Man suit that he can summon at will or whatever to help him fight. And we also have another character who's like a demon hunter or something. He has black hair. He has a like a wooden bow sword. I forgot what you call those, practice swords or whatever. And he's in town trying to figure out what's going on. So like I said, you got all this stuff kind of going on. Um, but I will say, for the most part, things kind of does Hiroshi succeed in the end, and in saving the world? I guess, yeah, he does. So we do get a happy ending, but of course, I won't say what happened all before we got to the finale. But this anime really, like I said, it's just all over the place, but I think that adds to its charm. I personally feel like it's, like I said, the action. I do like the animation, and the character designs are really cool and nice to look at. Like I said, the action scenes are a lot of fun. There is like some kind of gore and tentacle oriented content. Nothing too graphic, but yeah, we do have some violent moments, which I do like, and yeah, it's just a fun dumb OVA. Honestly, I might check out the manga one day, maybe just to see how much did they go beyond the story of this OVA. Um, but yeah, it's just fun for what it is. I really like it. Like I said, I like that it takes place in high school. Like we never see his parents or really see his house or whatever. So I like that. Like I said, it takes place in a high school setting, and I think we only see like a couple of teachers. I think we see the principal once, maybe. So yeah, but like I said, go give Battle Royal High School a watch. Definitely check it out on YouTube for free. Peace, you guys. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another spooky oriented anime review, if you want to call this spooky. This came out May 2nd, 1992. I will be talking about Midori. This is considered one of the most graphic or most disturbing anime ever made because of the genre or source material. Um, this is banned. Supposedly, this is banned in every country in the world. Just take that in for a few minutes, a few seconds. Because of that, the person who directed it animated it all by themselves. The name of the director, Hiroshi Harada. This was adapted from a manga, which I believe was created by Sahiro Maruro. I'm not sure how to say his name. Yeah, so like I said, this anime, gets a lot of, yeah, it's very controversial. Like I said, it was banned in every country. The director, like no animation studio was comfortable working on it, so the director made it himself. And for the most part, I mean, the animation, I mean, just the backstory behind this anime alone to me is what makes it, unique and stand out. The animation, it's good. It's creepy. It's good, but it's good. It's for the most part, like with most anime during the 80s or 90s, it kind of has its own unique style to it. Um, yeah, there were a voice cast for this anime. It never got dubbed to my, yeah, it never got dubbed. It just had a sub. Um, so I'm not sure if if they were like friends of the director or if they were legit, actors who maybe he had connections with to be a part of this project. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, a lot of people consider this like the most disturbing anime ever. Me personally, after seeing it, do I feel like it lives up to the to those rumors? Yes and no. I do think it has some disturbing, uncomfortable sequences, but I don't know if I would say it's like the most graphic anime. So what is our story about? Well, pretty depressing, and that just reminded me of something else I'll talk about towards the end. So we have this girl named Midori, who you see behind me. Her father is not in the picture. We don't like we see like sequences of her dad, but we don't know what happened to him. So it's just her and her mother. She's in school. I think she's like 14, 15 years old. And she finds out that her mom was ill, and then she finds out her mom passed, in in bed or in her sleep. So now she was just kind of like on her own, didn't have anyone to like look after her or anything like that. And she meets this man who owns the circus, and the man invites her to come be a part of his circus. Um, so the people at the circus, we have a femboy who can breathe fire, a man with the eye patch who can swallow swords, a woman who does all these tricks and all these things with snakes, like she's called the Snake Woman. And then we have a guy who you see behind me who looks like a mummy. He has no arms or whatever. And I think there's like two other characters who are disabled or something, who are in the uh, circus, and they all kind of treat her like crap, like she's like their maid in a sense. They all treat her like crap and abuse her, and yeah, that was, like, since she's a child, yeah, that was kind of uncomfortable to watch at times. And I don't know if like the the man who owned the circus, like if he was aware of what was happening to her, because we never, as the audience, we never saw him actually like assault her or, you know lay it, put his hands on her in any way or abuse her. We never saw him do it, so I don't know if like he just wasn't aware of what was going on, while he wasn't present, or maybe she was afraid to say something to him. I don't know, but so yeah, that happens in a scene where she finds some um orphan puppies, and un- something really graphic and unsettling happens to the puppies. Um, and I think that was one of the reasons people have with this issue with this movie or anime, is the way, like I said, them having what child abuse and animal abuse. Those are two big red flags that every country was not comfortable with, including Japan. um, so yeah, like I said, it's oh, I forgot. We still got some story left. So a short man who possesses these magic abilities comes to join the circus, and he takes an interest in Midori, and he basically kind of looks after her, and you know get all the other characters to stop being cruel towards her, and start carrying their own weight and stuff like that. Which, in a sense, like, okay, the short man's presence in the beginning, it comes off positive, but he starts to have romantic feelings towards her, and it's because of her circumstances and what she's been through. She, I guess, kind of starts feeling the same way towards him, but because, like I said, what she's been through, and considering that she's still like a teenager, preteen, like, you question if she's genuinely falling for him, or you know, because of, like I said, what was happened to her, she's just doing it to be in a better, be in a better situation, or to be treated better or whatever. Um, so I think he wants to marry her, and he kind of comes off kind of a little clingy. And like I said, he's a grown man and she's a child, so that did not feel, it didn't feel good watching that, like, Yeah, that was a little uncomfortable. But so like I said, so some other stuff happens, and the ending kind of ends. It's kind of hard to explain. I think you would have to watch it more than once to understand the ending. I saw someone shared when I was doing research what they thought the ending was, and I didn't like it. Uh, what they thought the ending was just very dark and just sad, and would put me in a negative headspace after watching the movie or after watching the anime. It's only 48 minutes. It's on Anime Archive, not Anime Archive, Internet Archive. So you can find it on there and watch it. But like I said, um, I mean, I like it for what it is. Like mostly just the history behind how it got made. Um, I don't really feel like it's an anime I can watch more than once personally. Because I've seen there are like violent graphic anime that exist, especially during this time. But those are more fictional and like it's not real. It's fictional, and maybe the people it was happening to were people who kind of had it coming to them, stuff like that. But this, like I said, this felt like yeah, this could possibly be real to some degree. To some degree, this could be a real experience that someone could have, and I guess that makes it when you add um, that realistic tone to it, it kind of makes it a little bit more uncomfortable to sit through. So again, watch at your own risk. Like I said, I think it's good for what it is. I still think the animation is really good and unique. But yeah, like I said, I'm good on it. And like I said, it's based off a manga, so if you're interested, yeah, go give the manga a read if you want to see. I did see on IMDb, I think there may have been a live action version in 2016. Why they would make a live action version, I have no idea. Um, I may check that out of curiosity, at least try to see a trailer for it. Um, if it's a real thing. So if I do that, maybe I might talk about the live action one because my mind is blown. Like, who thought it was a good idea to give this a live action adaptation? Like, it didn't need one. It just needed to stay. It probably didn't need to be adapted, let alone be made into a live action movie. But yeah, that's kind of it for Midori. Like I said, check it out if you're interested. Watch at your own risk. Like I said, if you don't like that type of graphic material, I don't suggest you watch it. But I just wanted to kind of spread awareness about this OVA so people know it exists, that something like this exists. So, yeah, go give Midori a watch if you want. Check it out. Peace. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another horror-oriented review. Halloween may have come early this year, for me at least. Yes, I am talking about Intruder from 1989. This came out, I believe, January 27th, 1989. This was directed by Scott Spiegel. Cool. I'm not familiar with his other stuff. This stars Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, and his brother Ted Raimi. If you don't know who Sam Raimi is, he's the person who directed Evil Dead series. He created the Evil Dead series. He directed the first three Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. And he's done a lot of other stuff as well. But those are probably his those two series are probably his most well-known pieces of work. Bruce Campbell and Sam are good friends. So Bruce is almost in every production Sam makes. Um, yeah, Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead series, Ash Williams, veteran actor. Yeah, and like I said, Sam's brother Ted Raimi, who he also puts in almost all his projects. So again, what is this about? Well, like I said, it's basically a grocery store slasher movie. That to me is just so cool. During the era where we got all these crazy, horror movies and slasher movies, like I said, a movie like Maniac Cop, which I've never seen, but I always thought was a cool idea about a crazy cop slasher, um, a chopping mall where these robot security, um, like the security robots go haywire and start K-wording the people in the mall. Um, Like I said, New Year's Evil, a slasher movie that takes place on New Year's Eve. Bloody Valentine, a slasher that takes place during Valentine's Day weekend or whatever. Like I just love those. Like, or Black Christmas, a slasher that takes place on Christmas Eve, or Christmas Evil. So it's so many. There's even, like I said, there's a Thanksgiving slasher film called Thanksgiving, which is hilarious. There's even an Uncle Sam. There's even a Fourth of July slasher film where the killer is dressed as Uncle Sam. Let that sink in for a few seconds. There's just so many slashers, and I just love that so much. So yes, this one takes place in a grocery store. It's basically about a group of co-workers who work the night shift basically at the store. Another reason why you shouldn't have your grocery store be open for 24 hours. Um, and yeah, slowly as the night goes on, everyone starts getting picked off one by one. Now, one of the female co-workers, who is our main character, she has an ex-boyfriend who comes to the store looking for her. Apparently, he went to jail for something, and because of his background, everybody's not really comfortable with him being on the premises, so they kind of kick him out of the store, like get the heck out of here, or we're gonna call the police or whatever. So the movie kind of makes you think like, oh, he's probably the killer. Makes you think one thing, not knowing that who actually the killer is. So ooh, maybe that's a little bit of a spoiler, but yeah, my bad. Oops. But we find eventually towards the end we find out who the real killer is. Of course, I'm going to spoil it because that would ruin the movie for you. Um, and the twist, it has a twist ending which I like, but I don't like because I'm like your mouth will kind of drop. Like, are you serious? That's how it ends. Like, damn, that sucks. But it's a good twist ending. It's a good twist ending, even though I don't like it. Um, but like I said, it's a fun movie. It's a fun slasher film. You can watch it on Pluto TV for free. Like I said, the cast was great. I like that take. They actually filmed in a real grocery store, which I believe at this point has been torn down, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is now. They made it into a different place of business, but yeah, like I said, it takes place in a real grocery store, and um, it really kind of gives off like the uncomfortable kind of feeling for people who may have worked overnight shifts somewhere or whatever. So I really like that aesthetic. Again, the cast was great and entertaining. Everybody felt like realistic, people just working at a grocery store. I worked in two grocery stores, but I never worked overnight. So I kind of vibed with the energy that everybody gave off in this movie. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of it for Intruder. It's good. Like I said, it's a fun slasher. Definitely, if you're interested, give it a watch. Get together with a couple of friends, and you can have a good time. But yeah, it's kind of it. I recommend Intruder. Check it out. Peace, you guys. Hey, Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another fan film oriented video. Yes, I'm not really doing a review on this one. I might do an update to this or with a proper review. This is more of I just want to kind of again spread awareness and talk about it. I'm sure there's probably a crap ton of people who may know. My audience who are interested in fan films may not know this. Yes, this is Spider-Man Lotus. I believe the trailer first released, I think, like 2019. Um, and from there, it caught a lot of attention and didn't release till 2023. This was directed by Gavin J. Knopp or something like that. And at the time when he filmed this, he was 19 years old. So that's amazing. You're a director at 19 and you made your own Spider-Man fan film, which visually could have been on the same level as the movies, which is just to me amazing. Had writers and costume designer people and all that good stuff. All those different hats or hands went into making this film, which I think is really cool. Andrew Garfield, the actor who played Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, who was also in No Way Home, and I believe the director of the first of Spider-Man: Homecoming also caught wind of this project and supported Gavin. I think they may have. I don't know if they contacted him directly and told encouraged him to make it or continue to work on it or whatever, or if they just acknowledged it on Twitter or social media about what he was doing. That's still really cool. You got acknowledged by one of the people who played Spider-Man and one of the people who directed one of the movies. That's insane. That is really cool. Unfortunately, like with everything nowadays, there is some controversy. So apparently, Gavin and I believe I'm not sure about the actor who played Peter. Maybe the actor who played Peter and the actor who played played the Goblin. Um, had like a group chat where they made some racial slurs and some other negative stuff. Um, Someone who apparently knew Gavin and at one point was his friend, but when Gavin became successful, he kind of left the friend behind or cut the friend off. In a way of getting back at him, the friend had released these messages on social media, so everybody caught wind of what kind of person he was and all that stuff. So that kind of put a damper on the success of this film. On his channel, he has spoke out about the situation. Um, I don't know if I'm getting rid of my getting rid of my notifications. Like I said, I don't know if what he said in the video because I haven't watched it yet. I might try to give it a watch. But yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate. And there was a rumor that the actor who played Goblin may have been doing something inappropriate with someone underage. So that's a thing too, apparently. Um, Again, this is just sad. This happened. Oh yeah, I want to mention that this is 2 hours long. So if you are interested in watching this, I recommend watching it on your television. um, that's another reason why I haven't watched it yet because it's 2 hours long, and I haven't had the time to really sit and watch it thoroughly. So yeah, but apparently this is based off two well-written Spider-Man comics, Spider-Man Blue, which I am a fan of. I think it can't remember if it was written or drawn by Jeff Loeb, but he's a well-known person in the comic book world. That so Spider-Man Blue is basically Peter is kind of remembering his time with Gwen Stacy and their relationship and stuff like that. Um, at this point, like I said, I think he's married to Mary Jane. So if you know your Spider-Man lore, you know what happened to her, what happened to Gwen Stacy. So that's that was really cool that they chose to adapt that story of all stories. But like I said, it's a very well written Spider-Man story. It's a good read if you're interested. I recommend it. The second story they adapted was I can't remember the name of it, but I remember it because it was kind of adapted in the '90s Spider-Man show where he meets this in the book. It was a little boy, and the show was a little girl. He meets this little boy who's a huge fan of Spider-Man. I think he finds out that the boy is ill. He has like cancer or something, and he decides to show him his true identity or whatever. Again, that's another a well-written Spider-Man story. So those are the two stories they took inspiration from for this film. Um, like I said, which is really cool. So apparently, this movie, a lot of people don't, outside of the controversy, a lot of people don't like this movie. They think it's kind of bland, it's kind of boring. Some scenes may drag on for too long. I know there's action sequences. Like I know he fights the Goblin, he fights the Shocker. I'm not sure if he fights any other villains. So I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how well the action sequences, how well put together they were or filmed or whatever. Um, but there are some positives. Like I said, like the stories they tried to adapt. The costume looks really good. Um, The cast is, yeah, the cast is solid. They're just, it's just the material and the writing that kind of brings the movie down. Um, we kind of see Gwen, Mary Jane, Harry, and Peter as like this group of friends, which is really cool to see. I don't think we've ever really seen that dynamic, maybe outside of the comics. I'm not entirely sure. So, like I said, there are some positives in this film, but it's just everybody was so excited for it, and so much was writing on it, and just for it to finally come out, and people are just like, it's not that good. Like I hate to say it, there's a whole lot of reviews on YouTube talking about this, but like I said, there are some positives, but there's more negatives than there are positives. And like I said, I don't like to talk about. I've done that maybe once or twice before, and it turned out not being a good video, where I've talked about something without fully seeing it yet. Like for example, I talked about the Mario Brothers movie from '93, the live action one with Bob Hoskins. I talked about that before actually sitting and watching it, even though my review was positive. All my story information wasn't accurate because I hadn't fully seen the movie yet. But again, I just kind of wanted to spread awareness and kind of talk about this now controversial fan film. But again, if you're interested, like I said, you can watch it on YouTube, 2 hours long. Give it a watch. Like I said, as a diehard Spidey fan, I probably will watch this at some point. I just have to make the time for it, So again, and once I watch it, I might make a proper review, but it's just unfortunate. If you want to see a good Spider-Man fan film, I know there's some others out there. Check out Dan Poole's Spider-Man fan films, which I've done reviews on both of them. One where he fights the Green Goblin, which was adapted from the comics, and another one where he fights Kingpin and Bullseye from the Daredevil movie. Outside of the quality, like visually, the quality of those being really low budget, the story and the acting was really good. So if you want a solid Spider-Man fan film, go check out Dan Poole's Spider-Man films. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of it for Spider-Man Lotus. Like I said, just unfortunate, but stuff like that, you always kind of hear stuff like that. You never know what goes on behind the closed doors with people. So I kind of hope it didn't, what was going on, behind the scenes didn't cause this movie to be like, I don't want to say a failure, but to not be as liked as it could have been if all this controversy didn't happen. But like I said, give it a watch if you're interested. Check it out. Peace, you guys. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another mini anime review, or I don't know if I could really call this an anime, but video game adaptation review. This time on Dante's Inferno from 2009, I believe. I played a little bit of this personally, as an adult. This game, I believe, yeah, it has a following. I think it was successful when it came out. This was developed by EA, Electronic Arts, well-known studio. Has some positives and negatives behind their business practices, but I won't get into that. They also made Dead Space, and I know they made sport games. So yeah, I think they also made Mirror's Edge. I'm a Mirror's Edge fan. For anyone who's familiar with that series, it only had 2 games and a mobile game. So yeah, but this is briefly based off a novel, I believe, or a book called A Divine Comedy, or Dante's Inferno. You can Google that yourself if you're interested. I do think the book is worth checking out, but it's very. This is more, fictional video game-esque compared to the novel or the book. But yeah, so what is this about? It's about our main character, Dante, who's a crusader. He thought he was fighting for the greater good, and it turned out that what him and his fellow crusaders were doing was actually evil. I think they were killing innocent people, but they didn't know that the people they were killing were innocent. He is eventually killed himself by a I don't know if it was like an assassin, but someone basically stabbed him in the back, like literally stabbed him in the back. And he goes to, I guess he goes to hell. I'm not entirely sure, but he ends up passing on. He comes across the Grim Reaper. He refuses to die. Like, I gotta, like, I still have a lot of life to live. He has a wife back home, Beatrice, and he wants to be with her. So he's like, I'm not ready to leave this world, leave this earth just yet. He gets in a fight with death with the Grim Reaper, which is pretty dope. And you fight him in the game, which is really cool. He steals a scythe. He returns to the world of living. He returns home. He finds his father and Beatrice have been K-worded. He also finds out that the devil has taken Beatrice to the underworld, to hell or whatever. So now Dante must go through the 9 circles of hell. I forgot the names of the 9 circles. I'm sorry, but it's really cool. It's cool and creative. And he, like I said, so he has to go through the 9 circles of hell to rescue his beloved Beatrice. He's accompanied by, I think, a god or a demigod, um, who's like his guide. And in the game, he reads all these verses. I don't know if they're Bible verses, but he gives you all this information that I think is from the book or something like that, which is really cool. Um, and yeah, he fights some friends. He fights some family who have went to the underworld. I won't spoil who they were. Um, and yeah, like I said, the game itself is cool. It's kind of, hack and slash. It was kind of like God of War and Devil May Cry. Like I said, I've only played a little bit of it, but what I played I thought was fun. It was different from those games. If you just want something else, but still in that wheelhouse. Like I said, the movie itself, each in a sense, it's kind of like an anthology, like with the Animatrix or Batman Gotham Knights, where each story is done by a different director or different. It's in a different animation style. I think the same thing goes for Dante's Inferno. I'm not sure if it had multiple directors. I didn't bother to look. I just wanted this to be like a mini review. Um, yeah, but so I don't know if it had multiple directors, but each level of hell that he goes to is in a different art style. And again, that adds to the uniqueness of this movie, adds to, rewatch value. And yeah, like I said, it's a very, simplistic story. They do kind of do some things differently from the game, which is cool. But like I said, really, you're just kind of watching for the animation style, the different animation styles, and I guess the dialogue. I mean, I like the story. The story's cool for what it is. I think it kind of ends cliffhanger-ish, which the game also ends cliffhanger-ish. Spoiler. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's still cool. The actor who played Dante in the game and in this movie did a really good job. All the voice cast did a good job. Um, yeah, like I said, like I said, so there's this. Bayonetta got a anime adaptation. Dead Space got 2 animated adaptations. I might talk about those maybe around Halloween. But yeah, like I said, if you've never seen Dante's Inferno, the animation, I recommend it. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. I think it's on Freevee, which is a free streaming app. So yeah, if you're interested, give it a watch. But I will say, since he is in hell, if you're not comfortable with some of that, you know, that imagery, maybe this isn't for you. There is, nudity, and there is some graphic violence and blood and all that stuff. So, like I said, if that offends you, or your religion in any sense, anyway, maybe this isn't for you. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I recommend Dante's Inferno. Give it a watch. Check it out. Peace with you. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another mini anime OVA review. This time on Ninja Gaiden. For those who don't know, Ninja Gaiden is a popular video game series. It's in the same universe as DOA, standing for Dead or Alive, which is a fighting game series. I believe, yeah, the main character's name is Ryu Hayabusa, however you say his name. Very popular, I would say, yeah, very popular ninja character in the video game world. So yeah, this is an anime adaptation or takes I guess it takes place in the same universe as the games of the solo Ninja Gaiden series. Of course, I'm a casual fan of Dead or Alive. I'm more like the story than the game itself. The same goes for Ninja Gaiden. I had no clue this existed. I discovered this through a YouTuber who kind of reviews obscure stuff like myself. He talked about it a couple of years ago, and that's how I discovered it. It's only 50 minutes. It's on YouTube for free. It had two directors, which is really cool. Um, yeah, so like I said, so what is this OVA about, basically? Well, we have Ryu, who you see behind me, our main ninja protagonist. I believe that's his girlfriend. I can't remember, but him, his girlfriend, and their allies are basically trying to stop this evil corporation, which is have created like these mutant, I guess, super soldiers, mutant experiments or something, and that's kind of the gist of the story. Um, like we see the minions or mutants come after him and his allies, and he has to spring into action and prevent them from getting hurt while also trying to fight off the mutants. At the end, they storm the corporation building and just kind of have like this own like little mini war type battle with all these monsters and stuff. And that was really cool to watch. Like I said, the animation and the fight scenes, I think, are what really carries this OVA. Um, like I said, I think I said, yeah, it came out in 1991. So for 91, yeah, solid anime. Anime was solid during that time, during that period, 80s and 90s. So, like I said, this is a lot of fun. I'm not sure if there's an English dub. I saw the sub version, so if there's an English dub, I'll definitely give that one a watch. There's a lot of action, a lot of violence, a lot of. I think there's gore. Yeah, I think there's gore in this. So again, if you're interested, I highly recommend it. If you didn't know that Ninja Gaiden had an anime OVA or anime movie, totally recommend this. It's a lot of fun. You won't be disappointed. Like I said, it's only 50 minutes, so you can watch it in an hour. Um, yeah, give the Ninja Gaiden anime OVA a watch. Check it out. Peace.